You must come to this play at the Hollywood Fringe Festival because it is an original play and it is talking about all these deep human themes about the veteran experience that will change your life. You will be opened up by their stories. These are real stories of real veterans that we put together to showcase and highlight their experience. These stories actually happened. And that's what makes it so unique. That's what makes it so important for you to come see because sometimes you'll come to a play that the story's moving, but it was created in the world of the writer. It's created in the world of Eugene O'Neill or Tennessee Williams or Shakespeare or Harold Pinter, whomever, and it's there and it's brilliant, and it's characters that are living in those circumstances, and they're fictional. The circumstances that are described in our play are real. It's based on truth. That these stories happen. And that's what makes it so unique. And when you hear that, it resonates so deeply on a deeper level that it will be changed by it. You will come out of this having a greater appreciation of what the veteran experience is and what it means to be human in some very extreme circumstances. Hi, my name is Charlie Pacello. I'm an actor, co-producer, co-director for the upcoming show We Got Your Six. That's going to be in the Hollywood Fringe Festival, coming this June 2023 in Hollywood, California. If you want to learn more information about this upcoming production, watch this video now. The reason we wanted to bring this project, why we wanted to do this project and why we wanted to bring it to the Fringe is twofold. One of the things that I do when I'm not doing theater is I'm working with and helping people with PTSD and trauma to overcome their pain from, whether it's war, child abuse, domestic violence, rape, refugees, incarceration, helping people to heal from their traumas and being able to overcome those past pains so that they could live the life they were meant to live. And one of the things that I was studying and working on was how do we utilize theater to be a vehicle for healing? How do we enable to use this ancient technology, this that had been used by these ancient Greeks so long ago, that helped their society and their communities to purge their toxic emotions from the wars and conflicts that they had? How do we relate that to the modern day? How do we incorporate that in our very modern, technological, materialistic, commercial world that doesn't seem to see that these things correlate? And so I worked with a couple of nonprofit organizations. One was called the Mindful Warrior Project. We brought mindfulness practices down to veterans on Skid Row. And it was there that we did a couple projects that were bringing theater to these veterans down on Skid Row, that here they were in hell. If anybody's been to Skid Row in Los Angeles, one of the most heartbreaking places in our country. It's just devastating. Lots of drugs, lots of violence going on down there. And so we came to bring some help and healing to the veterans that were living there. And those that did our program had some remarkable results. And we did a couple theater shows. It was Gail Sofer, who was who I worked with in that project, and we did some theater projects. And the veterans were very responsive. They had these breakthroughs, and they were in one time. I was developing a program where I was taking a veteran story and learning how to identify the archetypal elements of their story and putting it onto the stage. And I took this veteran story, developed it, and then performed it before them down there at Skid Row. And this was a very complicated story, a lot of trauma, a lot of horrible trauma. And I ended up performing it before these 9 veterans that were there. And these are crusty old veterans, hard life. And the veteran whose story I was doing, he was like holding on to his chair and was ready to bolt out of the auditorium or out of the cafeteria where we were performing this, so that if it got too rough on him. And so I performed it, and when I got done, every man was crying in there. Every man was crying. They were embracing each other. They were holding each other. They were saying, "Oh my gosh, you are helping our souls. You are saving our souls." And the man whose story he said, you screamed out loud what I have been screaming inside my whole life. And so you saw this cathartic purging that was happening for these men. The other thing is I worked with an organization called Soldier's Heart with Dr. Edward Tick and Kate Dahlstedt. Worked with them for many, many years, learning how the holistic process and how to help veterans heal without having to resort to medications or psychotropic medications to help them get through it, to help them identify their wounds and move through it. And one of the things that I studied I went to Greece 3 times with Dr. Tick, learning about the ancient Greek tradition, about how to apply this, how to use theater in a way that, again, begins to help identify those deeper wounds in their psyche, in their emotional life, and how to present that on this stage and how effective it is, and learning those techniques. And Soldier's Heart enabled me to be able to work with many veterans doing this kind of work. I did a healing retreat back in 2021 up in Montana, where I worked with veterans there, some combat veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan. And we dove into some theater work at that retreat, where they dove into a play called Heracles Gone Mad, which was one of Euripides' plays. And to see them open up, these were some of them were suicidal, suffering from, and the reading the play and breaking the script down and really opened them up in ways that was just incredible. It was incredible to see them all of a sudden. There had this revelation, this understanding. They were really, and it would have been, we broke these script down in ways better than some of the actors that I have used or worked with before, because they understood that the dynamics that were happening for those characters because of their war experiences. So with all that background, that's the reason why we're doing this show. We Got Your Six. It's called We Got Your Six, and it is about covering your back. I got your back. That's what We Got Your Six is, because I got your back. You got my back. And when you're in war, you're relying on your buddy to cover your back, because you're getting, when you're in a combat situation, you're getting fire that's coming from all different directions, and you got to know that your buddy, man or woman, has got you. That they're gonna help you to get home again. And so that's why we're doing this show. It's an amalgamation of a lot of different veteran stories. It's based on a lot of truthful stories that are woven together into a theatrical narrative. One of my veteran friends, he has a nonprofit organization called Bullets and Band-Aids. And what he does, he served in Afghanistan. He collects individual stories of these veterans, has a writer write down the story, about 4 pages, and then has an artist paint an image from their experience. It might be boots on the ground. It might be dog tags. It might be a nuclear explosion, whatever it may be. And then he has a walking tour going down in South Carolina, Georgia area where he lives. So he gave us permission to look at some of the stories, and we extracted some of the stories and have brought it to the stage. Ones that were very compelling, that we felt were going to do exactly to evoke those feelings in people, to help them to understand the veteran experience on a very personal level, and to see how that veteran experience impacts them when they return home, because that they're changed by the experience when they go out into the field, when they go out into combat, and when they come home. It's really difficult for people to get back into feeling like, I belong to this society, I belong to this community. And so we want to share these kinds of stories. We want to be able to help veterans, or give them the opportunity to share these stories in meaningful ways, so that they can reconnect to the community that they serve, and that the community can understand what they do. And hopefully it helps to achieve that catharsis and cleansing that is so needed and by our veteran community. The main story in the arc of the play is it takes place in two times. The moment that when Kabul fell. So just a couple of years ago, I think it was when Kabul fell, the Afghan, or excuse me, the Taliban were overrunning the airport. There was a lot of Marines that were there that got killed. So it's that moment when the Marines from this same company that we are a part of, that they lost some men and women. And so each of these characters, there's 7 characters that are touched by this moment, because it's that company that they served in. And once they hear the news of what's going on in Kabul, the explosions, the loss of life, the detonation, it brings them back in a flashback to the moment that all of them are united together in this really vicious battle in the Afghanistan war, where they were all together and had to deal with taking someone who hit a landmine, and an IED blew up, and he lost both of his legs. And how this moment changed everyone. How this moment, where all of them were impacted in trying to get this Marine out, and how they had to do it, and the intensity of the combat, the intensity of the firefight, as they were extracting this Marine to get him to safety. And then there's a little storyline in addition to that it would absolutely 100% happen. There was a child or children that were involved. They got hit by fire, and what happened after that. And so we're weaving all of these stories together to bring the sense of the intensity of combat that these veterans face, and then moving back out to their present day moment, and the revelations that they feel when they realize that everything that they had done was for nothing. So the actors that we have for our show are absolutely incredible. I mean, we are so lucky, so blessed that each of them brings their unique gifts and talents to these characters. I mean, we have a gentleman who's playing Sergeant Stores, who's tremendous. Combat Corpsman de Rivera, who's going to be our medic, who really dives into the emotional life of what it means to have to deal and hold somebody's life in your hand. Farhad is our translator. So many Afghan combat support personnel were the Afghans themselves. That were our translators, were the ones that we relied on and depended upon to keep our men alive. And so many veterans will connect and understand how important they were, that if we didn't have these translators, if we didn't have these people, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have survived. We wouldn't have gotten through. And then the agony of not being able to get them back. You know, the feelings like we betrayed them because we've made promises that we were going to take care of them, and now we can't do what we promised them to do. So our country made a liar out of me. So the gentleman who is playing Farhad, he's a tremendous actor who brings to life this complexity of them having to choose the United States and our NATO allies over perhaps the Taliban. And now that the Taliban has left, or we have left and the Taliban are there, he's left to face those consequences. Corporal Kimbrough. All right, he's the one who loses his legs and who has to face this new reality. And the actor who's portraying him, his depth, his sensitivity is remarkable. Private Geardo. This is the guy who's going to be who's on edge all the time. Who's you want him in those firefights, but he's a little bit he can lose it at any moment. Trying to keep him together. The gentleman who's playing him is remarkable. And our last actress, she plays Lieutenant Jessica, who's our fighter pilot. Our helicopter pilot who comes in. She's fantastic, fantastic cast. And each of these characters, the way they bring it, their commitment to the work, it is a joy and an honor to be working with them. I'm playing Captain Lindsay. He's the one in charge of the whole unit during this epic fight that they end up having, and how he had to navigate the difficulties of the firefight, and also how to be able to ameliorate the situation when the children are involved with the villagers. And so it's a cast that is complete and amazing. Our support team, we have Paul Honzeiler, who's the writer. He's a brilliant writer. He's the one who is able to pull all of these stories together into making it into his writing is incredible. And he's directing it as well. Anita Lee, she's our publicist, and we are promoting it out there. And so we've got a great team that's really pushing it out there and helping to get to make this the best theater experience possible for anyone and everyone who comes. I want the audience to come out of this play production having a greater sense of what the veteran experience is all about. There's only about less than 1% of the population that serves. There's only less than 1% of the population of the United States that hears the call to serve their country. And it's that less than 1% that is willing to die for others that they don't even know of, to give them the freedoms that they take for granted. And so we want to be able to hopefully that you come away with a greater appreciation of the challenges, of the moral dilemmas that these men and women go through all the time, that they are forced to face with, and that there's a lot of gray area there, that sometimes it's not all black and white. It's not that, when you're in those kind of situations, you have to do things that you don't want to do, or you have to face things that you didn't know you would have to face. And it leaves you haunted. It can leave you with haunting memories, painful memories of, I could have done better, or I should have done better. I wish I would have done better. And these veterans that carry these deep wounds, these emotional, psychological wounds, that they come back into the communities, and they're changed by what happened to them, and they don't know how to fit in. They might feel like a bad person inside, a monster inside, someone who's not worthy to be a part of. They've got something that's unforgivable inside. They did something that was so bad, and had they not been in that experience, they wouldn't have had to make that choice. And so helping to open people's heart to that compassion for what they go through, that's what I hope that we give to our audiences, that you can just get a glimpse of that sense of their humanness too, that they didn't, a lot of times they had to do things that they didn't want to do, and they deserve to be welcomed back and embraced and appreciated for the sacrifices that they made, and to help our society and community better, to make better choices, to make better decisions. If we're learning about our stories, their stories, they no longer have to carry it on their own. We carry it for them. And then we make better decisions. We understand the sacrifices. And then they feel like they're a part of the community again. And so that's what I hope we can accomplish. That's what I hope. I think people will be surprised at the capacity of our humanness to be able to be seen even in the worst of conditions. I think that they will be surprised to see the incredible heroism that goes unnoticed by people that are just doing ordinary things. That these individual heroic actions that save lives that people don't know about. We tend to elevate people and that tend to be nothing against celebrities, but they tend to elevate celebrities, tend to elevate sports figures, politicians, and you know, in the military, you elevate generals, you elevate your commanding officers, but those ordinary folks, those sergeants, those Marines, those privates, those young officers that there's heroic stories that happen that you just it'll blow your mind, and it'll give you such an appreciation of that, what people do that nobody ever hears about. And so I think that that's what's going to surprise people about this show. And also, when tragedy happens, our ability to overcome that tragedy collectively is really remarkable. When you're about to lose a man, how every moment counts. Every moment of that sequence counts because it's a matter of life and death. And I think that will catch people like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize we had that capacity to do that. You must come to this play at the Hollywood Fringe Festival because it is an original play and it is talking about all these deep human themes about the veteran experience that will change your life. You will be opened up by their stories. These are real stories of real veterans that we've put together to showcase and highlight their experience. These stories actually happened. And that's what makes it so unique. That's what makes it so important for you to come see, because sometimes you'll come to a play that the story's moving, but it was created in the world of the writer. It's created in the world of Eugene O'Neill or Tennessee Williams or Shakespeare or Harold Pinter, whomever, and it's there and it's brilliant, and it's characters that are living in those circumstances, and they're fictional. The circumstances that are described in our play are real. It's based on truth. That these stories happen. And that's what makes it so unique. And when you hear that, it resonates so deeply on a deeper level that it will be changed by it. You will come out of this having a greater appreciation of what the veteran experience is and what it means to be human in some very extreme circumstances. Well, I think the reason why people must come to the Fringe Festival is because there's so many incredible shows that are going on there that will allow you to get an idea of the depth of talent, creativity, and incredible artists that live in the Los Angeles area. I mean, come and see our show and then come and see all of the other shows. There are many different performing groups that are going to be there that are congregating for this Hollywood Fringe Festival that only happens in June. And it only happens for this one period of time where people from all these different walks of life are coming to perform for you. And so it is a must thing because you're going to get to see a whole variety of different groups and talents coming together to celebrate creativity. You want to be immersed and drenched in creativity? Then come to the Hollywood Fringe Festival, because you're going to be drenched in creativity that expands your mind, expands your heart, and hopefully at the same time, what we want to do for our show is that it changes you and transforms you as well. So that's why you got to come. Campaign for this event, you always can go to our website, lightningrodtheater.com, and donate. You can send your donations to us. It will help to fund our production. Now, this production is currently being funded by one of the grants. We've got a number of grants that we were able to get this cycle. However, we have other productions coming in. And so these are all going towards helping us to do the next iteration of We Got Your Six, which is going to be an even bigger production. This is part of a project that we're doing within the community that helps to bring attention to the veteran community, which is a microcosm of all these other communities that we serve. And so we want to keep hiring. We want to keep doing this. We want to have bigger stages. We want to do bigger productions. And so going to our website, lightningrodtheater.com, and you go donate $5, $10, $20, it will go to the right things. It will go to our productions and paying our actors and the people who make our productions what they are. And so please go and support us. It's what keeps Lightning Rod above water. One of my hopes and dreams for the future of this play production, to be able to take this around the country to different cities and locations, and to produce it there in front of other veteran communities so that they can see and resonate with what's being performed, and to be able to allow them to experience theater the way it can be experienced, that sense of community, connection, communal grief, that sense of being able to mourn together our wounds that we've experienced, and then allow them to be able to share their experiences after the show is done, where we do a talk back, where we can allow them to process what they saw, what they heard, because a show like this inevitably is going to open up people who have had those experiences. And so giving them permission, because it's opened them up, giving them permission afterwards to be able to speak about it, talk about it, grieve about it, mourn, having people around and available there. That's what I see. I think it could be an enormously powerful and theatrical and healing experience for people. And if we could take it around the country, that's the idea. So that's what I see. I want to see it. I want to see this in other productions where we're taking this project. The idea is to be able to develop other stories as well with the We Got Your Six project, so that we're constantly, renewing it, revitalizing it with new stories, sharing it, so that we keep bringing veteran stories out onto the stage. My name is Charlie Pacello, co-director, producer, and actor in the upcoming Lightning Rod Theater Productions play, We Got Your Six, that's coming up in the Hollywood Fringe Festival 2023 this June. You want to come see this play. It is a must. You must come see this play. We are going to be on stage Friday, June 23rd, 8:30 p.m. and Saturday, June 24th, 1 p.m. Those are our shows for the We Got Your Six. Please schedule it into your calendars. You're going to want to see this production. The actors are amazing. It is such a privilege to be working with them. You will be touched by these stories. These stories come from the very experiences of veterans who were there in Afghanistan and who had incredible experiences that are going to change you. They're going to open your heart. So come and see this show. We Got Your Six at the Hollywood Fringe Festival 2023.